What's up, guys and girls? Today I want to share with you some common questions that Americans usually ask me when they meet me for the first time. If you follow my channel, probably you know that I just moved to Georgia. Now I live in Atlanta, which means that I'm meeting a lot of new people. So those questions start to come up again. And they're kind of standard. Usually people ask you that when they want to break the ice. And if you are planning to come to the US, you can maybe start thinking about them since now, because probably they will ask you that. And okay, so let's get started with the questions. The first very common question, probably I bet someone will ask you this. I mean, most people will ask you this in the US. They ask you, what is your favorite thing about the US, or what do you like most in the US? And back in the past, when I just got here, they used it to take me a long time to think of the answer, but now I have answered this question so many times that I kind of have a standard response in my mind. So usually what I pick is the fact that the Americans, they really like to spend time working and studying, which means they take it really serious. Some people think that's really bad, but in my view, that's just a consequence of how they are committed with their goals and how they kind of set the goals and they are kind of focused. That's something that I really like in their culture. It's something that I try to learn and apply in my own life. So if they set a goal, if they have an objective, they kind of work hard to get there. And I think that's one of the reasons why United States is so successful in most things that they do. And that's something that we can learn from them. Of course, there are some workaholic people, and that's not the thing. That's when they kind of exaggerate their focus and their motivation, but it's really nice to see how they are focused and committed with their goals. That's the good thing that I usually pick and try to tell them. The second question that is pretty common, and it's almost the same question as the previous one, and it's kind of obvious. Probably they will ask you this right after the other. It's what is the worst thing about the US, or what is the thing that you don't like in the US, if you could change, for example. So this is a really tough question because it's really hard to talk about bad things when you are visiting another country, because you are not in your own home, so people might misunderstand you if you point something bad. But it's important to give your opinion, to share what you think, to share what you see, what bothers you. So in my case, usually they tell me, please don't talk about food because we know this is a problem. Okay, so I try to avoid talking about food. And the thing that I sometimes say, it's the fact that it looks like some Americans, I can't tell you it's the majority, but pretty often it looks like they don't know much about what's going on abroad. They know a lot about American culture, they know a lot about the American history, and they understand most things that are going on here, but when it comes to the outside world, it looks like they are not very connected. So sometimes when people come from other countries and they meet Americans, and it looks like they don't know much about their cultures. So some people might get offended. I don't get offended personally, because it also kind of happens in Brazil. Not much as here, but yeah, that's another thing that kind of bothers me, the lack of knowledge they have about other cultures. The third question that is very common that people always ask me, especially in the academic environment in the college, they ask me how different my university here is from Brazil, if my university here is bigger or if this is better than my university in Brazil. So I spent some time trying to explain that in Brazil we have something called Federal Institute. It's another concept of higher education. It's an institution, it's a building that will have high school and college in the same place. And that's something that I've never found here. If you have seen this, please leave on the comments. But in my personal experience, it's something very unique in Brazil. Other countries might have. So the same place that I went to high school is the place that I'm taking my college degree right now. And in my high school, I had some classes with professors that are teaching me classes in university right now. This is kind of funny, and I see that this is really hard to imagine if you are an American, because in the United States you usually leave home, you leave town, You leave your own town to live in another state or live in another city. So everything is different, everything changed, a lot of new people. But in my case, things didn't change that much because I already knew most of the staff. I knew a lot of professors. I kept a lot of my friends. They came to study the same major as me, or they went to another majors. But this is not the majority in Brazil. We have a lot of universities like in the US. We don't have this concept of on-campus living, which means that you come to the campus to live here. But we do have dorms, but people, they don't usually move out when they are accepted by an university. They try to stay with their families. They only move out if they don't have another option. So most of the time, people will stay with their families and they will come to the university, watch the classes, and then return home after the classes are done. Exactly like during high school. And in my case, it's not in university. So yeah, I think that's the answer. And my institute is not that big, but it's kind of big compared to other institutes. I will probably show a picture right now what I've shown. Anyway, last question. This is not very common, but some people might ask me that, and I believe that probably people will also ask you, especially if you are studying here. So some people ask me if I plan to return and live here after I graduate, or if I get a job, if I plan to maybe return, get married and stuff. Okay, this question is kind of tricky to me because I really like the American culture. I really like everything here, the opportunities that I had, all the people that I met, but I also like my own country. But if I could pick one answer, I would say that yes, if I have the opportunity to return and to work here, I would definitely return and live here. It doesn't mean that I will get married and live my whole life here, but I can see myself living for maybe 10, 15 years, get a job, I don't know, make some money and then leave the country. I'm just kidding, but you know, I can see myself living here for a period of time, but maybe going to another country, because I wish I could visit another countries. But I would be fine if I stayed in Brazil. But yeah, if I get an opportunity to return and work here, I would definitely accept. So if you're watching this video and if you have any opportunity to me, please leave me in the comments or send me an email. Anyway, that's all for today. I hope you liked. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please click on subscribe. If you have any question or comment or I don't know, anything, please leave it on the comments below. Click on like to help promote my video, and see you guys next week.